Hey everybody, it's Silver Shroom, and welcome back to the Blender Solar System. Last time we took a look at the former planet Pluto, and now we're moving on to another dwarf planet, Haumea. Now, like Pluto, Haumea orbits within the Kuiper belt, but further out, and there is some controversy over who actually discovered Haumea. Well, a team of American astronomers led by Michael E. Brown discovered Haumea in images on December 28, 2004. Based at the California Institute of Technology, or Caltech. On July 27, 2005, a team at a Spanish observatory led by José Luis Ortiz Moreno announced their discovery of Haumea before Brown and his team did theirs. While Brown initially ceded credit for the discovery to the Spanish, he grew suspicious when he discovered that those astronomers had accessed Caltech's images prior to announcing their discovery. Ortiz eventually admitted that he did, but claimed that it was only for confirmation. Yeah. It's not widely known for sure what happened or who really deserves credit for Haumea. But it is known that recovery images date back to March 22nd, 1955, and it has the minor planet designation 136,108. Now, Haumea was initially nicknamed Santa, as it was discovered shortly after Christmas. And the Spanish team proposed the name Atesina, something like that, who was a goddess of the underworld worshipped by several peoples of the Iberian Peninsula. However, this name was not accepted because underworld deity names are reserved for Plutinos, objects with similar orbital periods to Pluto. So instead, the American's name was chosen. Haumea was the Hawaiian goddess of fertility and childbirth. Now, in 2008, Haumea was officially recognized as a dwarf planet under the assumption that it was in hydrostatic equilibrium, but naturally, more studies were conducted, and now it's unclear whether Haumea is in fact a dwarf planet. We'll most likely just have to wait until they can send a probe. In fact, of the 5 official dwarf planets, only Ceres and Pluto we've observed in enough detail to know for certain that they are dwarf planets. The other 3 are pretty much just assumed. Now, one thing you'll notice about Haumea is its elliptical shape. It has dimensions of around 2,100, 1,680 by 1,074 kilometers. And this shape is because of its incredibly fast rotation. Haumea rotates once in just under 4 hours, and that has caused it to distort itself into an ellipsoid. Evidently, if it were to rotate much faster, it would distort into a dumbbell and split in two. Now, scientists are unsure of Haumea's axial tilt. I just have it level here. And another interesting fact about Haumea is that it has a ring. Yes, it has a somewhat fairly noticeable ring around it, and it rotates within it. So, with all that out of the way, let's take a look at Haumea's moons. So, the Haumean system contains 2 moons. Haumea is the only known trans-Neptunian object, or object beyond Neptune, besides Pluto, that is known to have more than one satellite. Their names are Hi'iaka and Namaka. Both were discovered by astronomers Mike Brown, Chad Trujillo, and David Rabinowitz. Hi'iaka on January 26, 2005, and Namaka on June 30th, 2005. And as Haumea had the nickname Santa, Hi'iaka and Namaka were initially nicknamed Rudolph and Blitzen, respectively. Eventually, they were named after 2 of Haumea's many daughters that sprang from various parts of her body. Hi'iaka is the patron goddess of Hawaii, and Namaka is a sea goddess. First, we have Namaka, the smaller and innermost of the 2, at about 170 kilometers across, and Hi'iaka is larger and further out at about 320 kilometers across. Now, both of these moons have very inclined orbits. At least as far as we know, Haumea might be rotating on its side. But I don't believe it's likely based on the information we do have. Namaka is about 25,700 kilometers from Haumea on average, and Hi'iaka about 49,900 kilometers. Namaka orbits in about 18 days, Hi'iaka in about 49 days. And while their rotations are uncertain, Hi'iaka is believed to rotate in about 9.8 hours. And Namaka's orbit is quite elliptical. It is believed to be influenced greatly by Hi'iaka. So, now with Haumea's moons out of the way, let's take a look at Haumea's orbit. So, back in the solar system, this is Haumea's orbit. Haumea takes just under 284 years to orbit the Sun, at an average distance of around 6.5 billion kilometers, or about 43 astronomical units. Its orbit is quite eccentric, getting as close to the Sun as 5.2 billion kilometers, or 35 astronomical units, and as far away as 7.7 billion kilometers, 52 astronomical units. And it's also heavily inclined at about 28 degrees. Now, Haumea was initially believed to be in orbital resonance with Neptune. Mathematically, for every 12 orbits Neptune makes, Haumea makes 7, which is a rarely observed orbital resonance among Kuiper belt objects, but Haumea may actually not be truly resonant with Neptune at all. The ratio may just be a coincidence. Look, we've got this really... Yeah, Blender doesn't do so well with small objects at long distances. You can't even see its ring, which, by the way, rotates around Haumea about 1/3 as fast as Haumea itself. Now, if we try and get a view from Earth, it's gonna be a bit tough. Zoom a bit more. And there. We've got the beautiful gray smudge that is Haumea. And if we don't focus, it looks like that. So that's it for Haumea. Next time on the Blender Solar System, we're going to move on to the next dwarf planet. See you then.